better level. They brought heat right through the A. I mean, you're not going to have success when you don't have a lot of experience and when you already have limitations. And that's what that was. And if we're that excited, if that's a Kevin pick and Kevin's that excited, you're going, why are you taking a backup in the third round and we need all these other things? Why are you doing that?
Into actual NFL, in an actual NFL regular season game where it means something. And then, too, what it says to me is that this was all semantics with Joe Flacco being the second string quarterback. Because if you have Shedeur Sanders on the third string, and this is something that came to my mind, fellas, if you had him as your third string quarterback, why wouldn't he be up for a trade to go to the Cleveland Browns?
I know we like, hey, take a shot on a quarterback, take a shot on a quarterback. Well, you take a shot on a quarterback who has a higher upside. Take a shot on a quarterback like a Shedeur Sanders is what you do. I'm not making a case right now. I'm just telling you what it is.
Right.
But a third-round guy, and we've done how many third-round QBs, and they're all the same. They're all Colt McCoy. They're all Cody Kessler. They're all just, they exist. And so I'd rather would have taken a third-round guy and put him in another place that maybe I could have some success with.
When the smoke cleared after another heartbreaking Sunday, the frustration in Cleveland was so thick you could almost taste it in the air. Fans stood in disbelief, reporters shook their heads, and across the city, a familiar question echoed once again. How did we get here? For decades, Browns fans have carried that pain, that lingering ache of knowing they were this close to getting it right. And once again, that feeling returned, this time with a name attached. Dillon Gabriel.
Better level. They brought heat right through the A. I mean, you're not going to have success when you don't have a lot of experience and when you already have limitations. And that's what that was. And if we're that excited, if that's a Kevin pick and Kevin's that excited, you're going, why are you taking a backup in the third round and we need all these other things? Why are you doing that?
Now, before we go any further, let's make something clear. Nobody's saying Dillon Gabriel is a bad quarterback. He's smart, accurate, hardworking, and he's going to make a living in this league. But being good enough to survive isn't the same as being great enough to lead. And that's what this is really about. This isn't just about one loss. It's about the realization that the Browns, yet again, might have drafted a player who's fine when they needed someone special.
Into actual NFL, in an actual NFL regular season game where it means something. And then, too, what it says to me is that this was all semantics with Joe Flacco being the second string quarterback. Because if you have Shedeur Sanders on the third string, and this is something that came to my mind, fellas, if you had him as your third string quarterback, why wouldn't he be up for a trade to go to the Cleveland Browns?
The Cleveland media didn't hold back this time. They said it straight. Dillon Gabriel is not a franchise quarterback. And when you look at the tape, it's hard to argue. You could see the difference in command and confidence and creativity, everything that separates the greats from the placeholders. The Steelers didn't just beat him, they exposed him. They attacked the middle, took away his vision, and showed exactly what happens when limitations meet real NFL speed. And that's where this whole conversation exploded. Because as one of the hosts said on air, you take a shot on a quarterback with a higher upside. You take a shot on a Shedeur Sanders. That's what you do. Before we go any further, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more raw, unfiltered NFL breakdowns, exclusive Cleveland Browns coverage, and the kind of football truth the mainstream never wants to say out loud. Every week, we're calling it exactly how we see it. No sugarcoating, no excuses, just facts.
Better level. They brought heat right through the A. I mean, you're not going to have success when you don't have a lot of experience and when you already have limitations. And that's what that was. And if we're that excited, if that's a Kevin pick and Kevin's that excited, you're going, why are you taking a backup in the third round and we need all these other things? Why are you doing that?
Now let's talk about what made that line so powerful and why it struck such a nerve across Cleveland. Because when you bring up Shedeur Sanders in a Browns discussion, it's not just about talent. It's about identity. It's about what kind of future you want to build. Shedeur Sanders represents everything the Browns don't have right now: swagger, leadership, composure under fire, and the ability to make plays when the structure breaks down. He's the kind of quarterback who changes the energy of an entire organization, the kind who walks into the locker room and people immediately believe they can win. Dillon Gabriel, on the other hand, feels like another chapter in the same sad story. A third-round gamble, Another developmental project, another name added to the long list of quarterbacks who looked decent in preseason and disappeared when the lights got bright. Colt McCoy, Cody Kessler, Deshaun Keyser. The names blur together, but the results never change. The host said it perfectly. The Browns didn't just lose the game, they exposed their philosophy. This team has been built on safe picks, predictable schemes, and reactionary leadership. Andrew Berry, the so-called genius GM, played it cautious again. Instead of swinging for a generational player, he swung for good enough. And in the NFL, good enough gets you fired. And here's the thing, Cleveland fans aren't stupid. They can see what's happening across the league. They see young quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders redefining what leadership looks like. They see rookies stepping into chaotic situations and making everyone around them better. And then they look at the Browns, still trying to convince themselves that a mid-round project is the future. That's why this clip went viral, because it wasn't just about Gabriel's bad game. It was about the Browns' bad direction. You can hear it in the host's voices, years of frustration boiling over. Why, they asked, are you taking a backup in the third round when your roster is full of holes? That's the million-dollar question. The Browns didn't need another maybe. They needed a must. They needed a quarterback who can overcome chaos, not crumble in it. And when you watch Shedeur Sanders, that's exactly what you see. Under pressure, on the move, down by 10, he never blinks. His pocket awareness, his field vision, his accuracy on the run, it all screams franchise. And maybe that's what stings the most for Cleveland fans. Because while they were convincing themselves that Dillon Gabriel could be the guy, Shedeur Sanders was out there proving he already is. But let's be honest, this isn't just a quarterback issue. It's a leadership issue. The Browns are stuck in a cycle where mediocrity keeps getting promoted. Every time the team underperforms, the front office points fingers instead of fixing the foundation. First, it was Baker's fault. Then it was Odell's fault. Then it was Deshaun's injury. And now it's just a big cloud of confusion. The offense looks stale. The line looks broken. The wide receiver room ranks among the worst in football. And through it all, head coach Kevin Stefanski stands on the sideline with the same blank expression we've seen for 6 seasons. The problem isn't just that they're losing. It's that they're losing the same way over and over again. Even the callers on the show were asking the real questions. How do you know when it's the coach versus the talent? How do you know when the system itself is broken? And the host didn't hesitate. They said when the offense looks identical 6 years later, when the results never change, and when every promising player eventually flames out, it's not the players anymore. It's the leadership. That's why the criticism has now shifted to Andrew Berry and Stefanski. Because if you look at the roster construction, it's a mess. The offensive line is old, the receivers are uninspired, and the team still doesn't have an identity. What's the plan? To keep recycling mid-tier quarterbacks until something randomly works? That's not strategy. That's desperation. And this is where the Shedeur Sanders reference hits hardest, because Shedeur isn't just a player. He's a plan. He's a statement. Drafting him would have said, we're ready to believe in greatness again. Instead, Cleveland chose safe. They chose familiar. They chose another year of excuses. The media knows it. The fans know it. And deep down, even the front office probably knows it too. You could feel it in the way they defended Gabriel after the loss. He's learning. He's young. He'll adjust. Those are the same phrases we've heard after every quarterback failure. It's like a script they dust off every fall. But the truth is, Cleveland isn't losing because of bad luck. They're losing because of bad vision. Because in a league that rewards boldness, they keep playing scared. And when the host said, take a shot on a Shedeur Sanders, that wasn't just sports talk. That was a challenge to the organization. Imagine the energy if Shedeur Sanders was wearing brown and orange. Imagine the fan base rallying behind a quarterback who thrives under pressure, who speaks with confidence, and who carries himself like a franchise cornerstone. That's what this city has been missing. Belief. Not hype, not headlines, but genuine belief that they've got a guy who can win because of the moment, not in spite of it. And as this season drags on, every bad throw, every broken play, every stalled drive will remind fans of what could have been. Because sometimes in football, the regret of who you didn't draft hurts more than the failure of who you did draft. The media said it best. Take a shot on a Shedeur Sanders. That line will echo for years if Cleveland doesn't figure it out. Because when Shedeur is lighting up defenses on national TV and the Browns are once again asking what went wrong, every fan will remember this moment and whisper the same truth. They should have drafted Shedeur Sanders.